to them about how they around the world. I have decided to observe as well. My notes have to do with just compass as a leader that people look up to, and where is your moral compass pointing? The moment the leader begins to face problems, if they were Jeff Bezos' wife, if they will be praised or they will be regretting that my Lord, if he wasn't going to do so, or you will be happy. Time for harvest, because you did not plant, you have nothing to harvest. So that my focus should be on the time of planting. Everybody and everything has that person has a time to fulfill that purpose. And when that time its purpose, it becomes a waste of time to everybody. Let's even talk about writer, for instance, that today it may not be of use, not because it cannot work, but because it has become obsolete. As flesh and blood and time passes, there is a time to fulfill a purpose. Leading others. When the time comes for a thought, usually take my time when I'm talking to young people, for instance, to discuss preparation. The question of preparation, which comes with a few qualities. Preparation, going for World Cup, we don't see somehow in advance. Preparation, you probably do not know. You did not know when Brazil was preparing. The only time probably you see them is on the field of play during the World Cup itself. The third quality, don't prepare. Whether you prepare or do not prepare, the time of testing will come and we will tell who has. WAEC officers do not come around house to house checking which student is studying and who is not. Do they do that? But on the day of the examination, 6 a.m., you see their ovens and pickers moving around to administer the people, whether you are prepared or not prepared. The examination will be written. The time for preparation was there. As Bible says, there is time for everything. Now it's time to write that they choose to prepare themselves adequately for this rather short life that God has given us. Rather short. Realize the following 4 things, and that's all about I'll talk of, and I'll hand over the microphone for this evening. Or our purpose. Inability to discover who we are. I trained as a chartered accountant. I have LLB or degree in law. Sometimes I sit down and ask myself, what really am I supposed? And everybody only gets his strength at where I believe God wants him to be. Many years ago, no, I discovered that I had to go in life. And find out how most the reason the wheel is because it still remains in water, dies under no time. The lion may be the strongest on earth, but may not be able to fight the smallest bird in the. But why lots of things fight for our 10 simple questions? And answer to yourself very honestly. Ask people if all jobs paid as the pastor, as the farmer, if all jobs paid the same, think about it deeply. Because we think in the short term it pays. And one of them, when I was in France, had the son come to speak to us at a morning devotion. He came with a private vehicle. And in my family at the time, nobody at the time. Accountant is start, finish. That is how I became an accountant. Qualified only to know what would you do. The second question sounds a bit contradictory to the first. It's not. Listen carefully. If you were told to commit to a particular job and you, most of us are in a hurry to retire, and it's a sign that we don't particularly love or have passion of after age 60. I'm also talking about retiring from the week's work on Friday. I'm also referring to the job, and you never have to retire until the day you drop dead. What would you do? I said I didn't need this. If you were told you had only 1 year to live on earth, God forbid you die in the next 1 year. If you were told you had a problem, we had deposited some good amount to think about your stomach, as 80% of the workforce of Ghana does. And you were told to do one thing with your life, would you do? Question number 4, the most in society. If you check the Bible, Moses wasn't a murderer, if you care to know. It's a matter of his level of hatred for slavery. God knew Israelites. So I ask people, what do you hate the most? I hate ignorance. Probably that is why I'm a teacher. And I want to have the time to teach them. For 2 p.m. And on my own tired, I could be tired. So I have trained for 108 companies. I'm here to write one proposal. Each company I had trained for was recommendation. Because somebody thought that you had passion for what you do, and so you try to do it well, and let's recommend him for another. What you love is usually what takes over your heart. Usually what you discuss with people. Usually what you go to bed, person doing that, you wish you were the fellow. I'm just trying to keep our attention a bit to how short our life here on earth is. So short that we cannot afford to be dissipating energy and effort on unnecessaries. It's important for me today, some of this fundamental another level, it would make sense, because it's not every direction everybody goes that would guarantee success. I'm a very firm believer, so much so that of resignation, but because I have a feeling and leaving Microsoft had ever been how to interfering with my vision back in Africa. How definite I wish everybody was to what God wants us to do. The second one, what you believe God in areas to build into. So it's okay, I'll get to all those areas. The skills that surround pure church, but it's a para-church. So if I may be allowed to say a few things, particularly the pastors in the house, I hope I am forgiven. God gives gifts, He doesn't add skills. God gives gifts, He doesn't add skill. Skill is acquired on earth. Trust in God, it will not matter how much. The necessary with the gift and go to blame God. I normally like to use the example of a very well-gifted singer. Oh, this is good voice. But we need to learn the skill of stage performance. We need to learn to survive as a. For the fourth one. The third one is to nurture. Nurturing and growing the gifts. I believe is all-knowing and can do everything. If there are 7 billion people on earth today, I believe that God can create all the 7 billion people. Why did He create 2, Adam and Eve? I've asked them to replenish. Descending should be easier than ascending. But God decided to take him through another person, Mary, as a day-old child who was, I believe God is a God that believes in. You can use to provide leadership to the world. But what are you doing about nurturing? The word nurture means to grow, to improve nature. But perhaps and selling ourselves to the world as leaders. Packaging. People who have discovered who they are, they probably have tried to acquire the skill that surround their gifts, package, and so the world check. You know, a check must qualify. Tally with amounts in words, not than 6 months old. The signature on the check must resonate with the one the bank already have on their system. I was in church not too long show in Accra, and probably was looking for a church to fellowship with in the morning hours before his show in the evening. So I saw his instrumentalists take over from our instrumentalists. He mounted a podium, held a mic, not necessarily because he was any better than anybody. He sang so well that by the time you feel like somebody was sitting by me, and I was like, do you know there are people in this church who could sing probably, or who had better voice than this gentleman? In rooms, watch people sing on his average voice. Tomorrow I will talk about advancing the vision, but I'll give you some fundamentals of the vision today. Selling yourself to the world means that you need to package yourself. What is vision? Future. Using it to drive the present day's actions. Using that registration. So if you were to flight or by train, when you get off, you got yourself to Newplan Station, you hear various mates shouting various towns. Ho, Oferibia, Soga, Ope. That is not accidental. It is because you have predefined Kumasi on your mind. Now, what happens to you is true. That is what happens to a lot of us in life. You see, nation is not well defined. Distractions appear as though they are opportunities. Distractions will appear to you for the moment as though they are opportunities. So that if I never defined I was going to Kumasi. So you got on board Kumasi vehicle. You get to Konongo, people are getting off board. It provides passion for the journey. But the moment the vision is not firm and everywhere looks like a destination, there's two people traveling from Accra. Right. Cast your mind in retrospect. Please come forward. Yeah. Traveling from Accra to Kumasi. Sorry, to Kofredia. Now, as his hometown, business in Accra is suffering. And he has to go to Kofredia to sell some of his properties there so he can do some capital injection. I got from bed only to realize that I'm on leave. I don't have to go to work. So I tell my wife and children to hop onto the vehicle and learn direction. So I'll ask, where are these vehicles going? Say they are going to Kofredia. Well, honey, since we have nothing doing, can we go to Kofredia and come? So yes. So I also set off for Kofredia. On the way we get fast is likely to make a quick U-turn to Accra. And who will look for alternatives to getting to Kofredia? Getting to Kofredia. Nothing. For him. So that's what happens to you. A life purpose, a project, and there's no clear-cut goal why you must. The slightest challenge that comes from Kofredia. I help me roll off the tree. After exhausting all his options, he will leave his vehicle there, jump over the tree, driving him. Thank you. Whether you are embarking on life vision, may I quick. So we assume, and when it is discovered, purpose just succeed, but people work at them. So that tomorrow I'll be discussing standards. Here and there, I call it stomach direction achievement. How do I make sure that me and my children can eat? The following qualities. Number one, it must contradict the presence. A vision must. What you have planned, the project you have in mind, the purpose to achieve. When we look at it and compare to your present predicament, there is no. If the vision looks like the present, it's not a vision at all. Some of you are successful. The vision says you are worthy. The vision says you are influential. Visions must contradict the present. Then at quite a tender age, under 10, I don't quite remember, between 7 and 9, my parents migrated to Tema. The first place my mother, she started a poultry farm that is just about 2 times this room. That's all she had. Halfway, then you put wire on it and raise it to the top. So we divided a poultry pen with fertilizer sack. So human beings will sleep on. She will sit me down and remind me how much a poor home you come from. When you go to secondary school, be careful. Because I'm told there's a difference between Onyakoko and Onyata. Was she lying? No. There was nothing at the time. But if it's a vision, then it must contradict the present. In years, she built a mansion. I also bought my own house. And the second one I talk about is, some years ago I walked from Dansoman to Adabraka. I wasn't exercising. I walked to Toyota. Trying to say, if it's a vision, it must contradict the present. Some of us